Welcome to Verse of the Day Quran channel. We will translate verses of the Quran from the Sahih International Translation, along with the tafsir from Ibn Kathir, Surah Al-A'raf, verse 16 to 21, Sahih International Translation, Surah Al-A'raf, verse 16. Translation: Satan said, "Because you have put me in error, I will surely sit in wait for them on your straight path." Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. In this verse, Iblis, Satan, blames Allah for his own misguidance, arrogantly claiming that Allah's decision to let him fall into error motivates him to seek revenge. Ibn Kathir explains that Iblis intends to deceive and misguide humans, sitting on the straight path to lead them astray, which means that he will try to obstruct them from following the path of Allah and righteousness. This is a declaration of enmity against humanity, stemming from Iblis's refusal to obey Allah's command to prostrate to Adam. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 17. Translation: Then I will come to them from before them, and from behind them, and on their right, and on their left, and you will not find most of them grateful to you. Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir notes that this verse reveals Iblis's tactics. He will approach humanity from all angles, front, back, right, and left, to deceive them and prevent them from recognizing Allah's signs. The lack of gratitude mentioned here is significant. Iblis intends to make people ungrateful for Allah's guidance and blessings. Ibn Kathir interprets ingratitude as both a failure to recognize Allah's favors and a deviation from the truth, which ultimately leads to disbelief and disobedience. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 18. Translation: Allah said, "Get out of paradise, reproached and expelled. Whoever follows you among them, I will surely fill hell with you altogether." Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. Allah's command for Iblis to leave paradise signifies his eternal rejection and exclusion from Allah's mercy. Ibn Kathir explains that this expulsion is a form of divine punishment and rebuke for Iblis's disobedience and arrogance. Those who choose to follow Iblis will share his fate in hell. This verse establishes that hell is the eventual abode for Iblis and all who follow his path of rebellion against Allah. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 19. Translation: And, O Adam, dwell, you and your wife, in paradise, and eat from wherever you will, but do not approach this tree, lest you be among the wrongdoers. Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. Allah permits Adam and his wife to enjoy all the pleasures of paradise, except for the forbidden tree. Ibn Kathir explains that this test of abstaining from the tree is a way to establish obedience and submission to Allah's will. The prohibition serves as a reminder that certain boundaries are set by Allah for humanity's benefit. The warning about being among the wrongdoers implies that transgressing Allah's command would result in consequences, as it represents disobedience to the Creator. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 20. Translation: But Satan whispered to them to make apparent to them that which was concealed from them of their private parts. He said, "Your Lord did not forbid you this tree, except that you become angels, or become of the immortal." Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. Satan's whispering is an act of deception intended to entice Adam and his wife into disobeying Allah. Ibn Kathir explains that Iblis aims to exploit their natural curiosity and desire for growth by suggesting that the tree would grant them eternal life or status similar to angels. This is one of Satan's tactics, to present disobedience as something desirable or beneficial. By sowing doubt about Allah's intentions, Iblis tries to drive a wedge between humans and their obedience to Allah. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 21. Translation: And he swore by Allah to them, "Indeed, I am to you from among the sincere advisers." Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. Here, Iblis reinforces his deception by swearing an oath, which makes his words more convincing to Adam and his wife. Ibn Kathir points out that Satan's oath is a false one, meant only to deceive them into trusting him. This tactic is particularly sinister, as it disguises his malicious intentions under the guise of sincerity. Iblis falsely presents himself as a trustworthy guide, showing that deception often involves the appearance of truth and trustworthiness. These verses and their tafsir illustrate Satan's enmity and deceptive strategies, alongside Allah's warnings to humanity about being mindful of Satan's traps and remaining obedient to divine guidance. If you found this explanation enlightening, consider sharing it with others and subscribing for more insights into the Quran. May Allah guide us all to the light of faith and knowledge. Ameen, Ya Allah.